What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Cheeky Crypto Uncensored. I am, of course, JB. This is, of course, a video all about Ripple's XRP. How are the charts looking? What is the news looking like? Is a potential XRP ETF on the horizon a very possible situation? And of course, what would that mean for the price action of XRP? We can see on that weekly chart, we did have a bearish close, ultimately closing lower than the 50 EMA and the 50 SMA, but crucially finding support on the 200 EMA at 49.72 cents. So what are the next likely moves? What is the next play for XRP? With the stochastic now in the oversold position on this weekly time frame, should we be gearing up for a move to the upside? But as we previously spoke about on the daily time frame, stochastic does have momentum to the downside. We can see that this is starting to take a bit of a downturn. We are trading lower than the 50 EMA, the 50 SMA, the 200 EMA, with the stochastic still looking to, continue that move to the downside. Are we really targeting the move to head on down towards 49.02 cents with that lower level of 46.45, breaking the previous low at 49.62 cents? Let's cover off that and so much more in today's video, guys. But first of all, let's run the intro. Yes, guys, welcome back to another Cheeky Crypto Uncensored video. XRP is doing something a little bit interesting here. We can obviously see the speculative hype that is going on, that's circulating around XRP just now. Obviously, ETFs are all the talk, and yes, XRP are weighing in on this also. So the question lies, is Ripple secretly preparing for an ETF? So before we do get into that, we know that Ripple are on a bit of a mission to create innovative crypto solutions aimed at a world free from economic barriers. To support its vision, Ripple is actively seeking talent to propel its cryptocurrency exchange-traded funds, its ETFs, initiatives forward. And this is fact. We can see on X that Ripple are actively looking for a senior product manager for DeFi in London. And of course, they're also looking for a software engineer in Bangalore and a software engineer in Toronto. But why may that be of appeal for the possibility of an ETF? The speculation was further fueled by XRP advertising for a senior manager for business development with a focus on institutional DeFi, targeting the US and the UK markets. This move is in line with Ripple's commitment to promoting global financial inclusion and signals the readiness for widespread adoption of institutional DeFi. So yes, it does look highly likely within time we will see an XRP ETF, and this would be absolutely fantastic. But we have to remember what is really going on with XRP. Like anybody has forgotten, the ongoing battle with the SEC. 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗡𝗪, for one, will be one that will not take that one lying down. With everything still going on between the SEC and Ripple, the chance of an ETF for XRP does seem highly unlikely, if not impossible, given the current lawsuit situation. So short term, in my opinion, we will not see an XRP ETF. There may be applications, but the appeals from the SEC and 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗡𝗪 in particular will vastly outweigh the demand for the XRP ETF, and in my opinion, that one will be suppressed, and we are more than likely not going to see an XRP ETF until the lawsuit is settled. Now, that lawsuit may be settled sooner than many people think. It may drag on for the course of 2024. We, of course, know the upcoming dates. Go back in the channel, you can check all those ones out. We've covered them off so many times. There's some very crucial dates coming up for Ripple, XRP and the SEC. We may see that one's, kind of closed off, perhaps in Q2 of this year at the earliest. So maybe by summertime, there may even be an application for an XRP ETF. I would love to know your guys' thoughts on that. Are you bullish on an XRP ETF? What would that do in the wider landscape? Is it a good thing? Overall, personally, I do think it's a good thing. The more exposure that these ETFs would have, the more ETFs we would obviously see on the market, the greater for the cryptocurrency market, and as we can see here, for DeFi in particular. So I thought, let's cover off that article first of all. I thought it was a very interesting thing to really be looking at for XRP and the news surrounding it. But we are, of course, here to have a look at some charts. And for first of all, we will throw over onto XRP's daily chart, Binance being the data source for this one. So what we can see going on is this move to the downside, predicting or targeting this potential Z wave. We do see marked out in the charts from the previous video, with a target area between 49.02 and 46.45. What we can see going on is the daily stochastic is starting to flick itself to the downside. What you will notice is the 4-hour flicking in and out of the oversold territory. The lower time frames, they are looking for a bit of a move to the upside, but on these higher time frames, but we can see that the trend is still to the downside, still looking for these corrections to finish. We can see the 50 SMA sitting at 58.69, the 50 EMA sitting at 57.34, are heading down towards that 200 EMA at 56.72. A potential death cross is looming. This of course happens when that 50 SMA, we can see in green, crosses the 200. Now that one may be a few days out, perhaps a week out, perhaps 2 weeks out, but a death cross is looming. But the shorter term, I do think we will be looking for a continuation to the downside, targeting the move down towards this Z wave target area. And we'll throw in some volumes now, guys. We can see we have come up and tested the higher area. It's not a great deal of volume, let's be honest, but we are ranging in a bit of volume just now. Should we lose the area we do see here around about 51.3 cents, then we know we would be looking at a free fall and coming down to test out the value area low, which falls within our Z wave target area. We can see that value area low sitting at 47.69. So that move to the downside, in my opinion, is very likely to happen before we would look for that next push to the upside, the relief rally, testing out the EMAs, the SMA, potentially that position of control. A more bullish look would be coming out to test out the value area high at 75 cents. That, in my opinion, is much further down the line should we see that move occur. When we move it up onto the weekly time frame, well, we can see first of all the weekly stochastic has brought itself down into that oversold position. Now we know that this one can stay here for a few weeks. We've seen this previously from August round to about December, sitting in the oversold territory. That one there is perfectly fine. We're coming down, we tested out that trend line, we broke below it, we closed above it, but we can see crucially on the weekly chart, we did come down and find support on the 200 EMA at 49.72 cents. But the bears kept that price below the 50 SMA and the 50 EMA. So ultimately, in my opinion, the bears did win the battle of the weekly position for XRP's price action. Yes, I do think we will see a continuation to the downside, perhaps testing that area again, perhaps just wicking below here before we would obviously look for a bit of a relief rally for XRP. I do think a relief rally is on the horizon for XRP. How far that one may go to the upside, we could be predictive, but I don't think it's probably the right thing to do just now. I would look for that finishing move to the downside to happen first. We can also throw some volumes onto this weekly chart, and what we can see going on is quite an interesting one. We can see where the volumes are sitting just now for XRP. We have came down and we are finding support in this area of previous higher volume. That relief rally we spoke about, we could see that one come up to test out this area we do have here, sitting around about 62 cents, very much a possibility, but just now we are finding a bit of support inside of this area. We do have previous higher volume, which ultimately is a good thing. Should we lose this area, well, we could be very bearish on XRP on the weekly time frame. We could be looking at this position of control sitting around about 37.6 cents. I think it's just far too early to be very predictive of XRP's price action. We know that XRP in itself is extremely volatile. It moves very quickly on news-based subjects. We've seen this previously back in July, of course. So yeah, I think it's best just to be a bit reserved with XRP's movements. Another interesting thing I did also see, when we looked at the Gaussian channel, we covered this a few videos ago, we were talking about the move back into the Gaussian channel and testing out the midline of the Gaussian channel, and we did indeed do that on the candle we did see last week. Now we know that midline just now is sitting around about 53.5 cents. We did see, a bounce from that midline, and that could be bullish overall. We could be looking for XRP, first of all, perhaps coming up to test the upper line here at around about 61.5 cents. If you're trading the Gaussian channels, these ones do tend to play out very well. So we know that these are potential moves going forward, but once again, guys, I think it's best to err on the side of caution when trading XRP. The trend line we followed over the last year or so, well, we know a test of that this week would be an unbelievable move, pushing back up to around about 73.3 cents. I don't think that's a likely scenario. We will, of course, be testing the second trend line we do have on the charts, and we are pretty much in the territory just now of testing that trend line. So I expect to see, a bit of a more volatile week for XRP ahead. We'll cover that perhaps a little later in the week. We may come back and reassess the moves of XRP come Friday, have a look at some of the lower time frames. Be sure to check that one out when that video does drop, and it will be here on this channel, guys. I hope you've enjoyed today's update for XRP. Why not continue checking out the content that Chris posted yesterday, a walk and talk live from Dubai.